Yo, disturbing a disappearance that has baffled a bunch of investigators. Let's check it out. If you haven't already, subscribe if you like, and comment.
On April 12th,
If you like.
2016, 16-year-old Mekayla Bali vanished from the face of the earth. Her friends last saw her at Sacred Heart High School in Yorktown, Saskatchewan, where she said she would be going on a vacation to Regina. While this may seem to be a straightforward case on the surface, the circumstances surrounding her disappearance continue to baffle investigators to this day. On Twitter, the Mekayla Bali family still posts regularly,
When was the last post? March?
hoping that their daughter will one day appear. Despite the many tips and a full police investigation, nobody knows what happened to Mekayla Bali.
So she'll be like, it's 2024, so she'll be roughly around, I like to say 24. Yeah. Quick math.
Mekayla was a pretty normal girl. She was a big fan of the Hunger Games and fantasy video games like League of Legends. Her hobbies also included playing the violin and photography. Mekayla was raised by single parents. According to her mother, she was quiet, sweet, shy, and a voracious reader, although not very adventurous or outgoing. Despite being a quiet girl, she was popular in her community. Her friends described her as a good listener. Bali's friends say she didn't smoke, although she frequented the smoke pit doors, a rear entrance of the school where the smokers often hung out. She wasn't into drugs either, although there was an occasion where she showed her friends some pills and claimed that they were opioid oxycodone. Police investigations later.
Bro, this is like the time period where that stuff started to be on the rise, especially with rap and stuff, especially on SoundCloud, bro. Like legit, it was literally a trend for rappers to have face tattoos, drink lean, and do like pop pills.
Discovered that the pills were actually Accutane, a medication Bali had been using to treat acne. We don't have any evidence to suggest that drugs were a factor in this, police said. At the time of her disappearance, Mekayla was single. Earlier that year, she had dated an old boyfriend, and they remained friends after the breakup. Her friend Shelby claims that she also connected with a few people online, at least 4, but that the communications were usually short-lived. However, on the day of her disappearance, it's widely suspected that she was in contact with someone. The only issue is that she used anonymous apps to communicate with people online.
On Kick?
Meaning that the police could not trace.
Yeah, who remembers Kick? Like, there's like something from back 2014, 2012. Like, who still, is that even like a thing?
Trace any of the calls she made or the texts she sent on that fateful day. As a consequence, they have to rely on the people she contacted to provide the details. The time leading up to April 12th, the day of Mekayla's disappearance, includes some interesting events to point out. A few months prior, in February, Mekayla received a bouquet of roses at school. She never told anyone who sent them. One of her friends, Hannah, claims that it was odd that the flowers came in a plain cardboard box. Apparently, the flower delivery had been from an online order. Unfortunately, despite identifying the sender, police never revealed that information to the public. Bali frequently talked about moving to a bigger city, and mentioned specific places like Saskatoon and Regina. The day prior, on April 11th, she talked about leaving town to go on a vacation. Her friends didn't take her seriously at the time. Later that day, according to her teacher, she seemed upset during class. After class, she texted her friend Oxkana, asking if she could take her to the bank the next day, and that it was important. Bali later called customer service at TD Bank 3 times, checked her balance, and transferred $25. In the evening, she contacted an ex-boyfriend, Shelby, and another friend named Amy. Amy later told police that Bali mentioned a man named Christopher, who would be coming to Saskatchewan to meet her.
Y'all gotta be careful. Like, you be talking to people online, and you be thinking they're your friends. Never meet up with them. Unless you, nah, don't even, no consideration. Don't meet up with them, because they're gonna be someone weird. Like, and the friends should have like contacted the parents and told them what was going on, or a teacher or an adult, because this all could have easily been prevented.
Now know that they never met in Saskatchewan. However, police did end up eventually investigating Christopher. The investigations by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, or the RCMP, regarding Mekayla Bali's disappearance have been quite thorough. The RCMP recovered footage of Mekayla's movements the day she disappeared, where they last saw her at the STC bus depot in Yorktown at 1:45 p.m. They have interviewed anyone close to Mekayla, and even investigated her bank activity, phone records, and social media, but to no avail. One of the greatest setbacks in this investigation is the method Mekayla used to communicate with people online. Much of the time, it was through social media like Snapchat or Instagram. For police to obtain records of social media interactions, they must go through tedious legal processes that take many months. However, Bali also used an app called Kik, which has some dark history. Police claim
Really?
that the app has been used by kidnappers to groom young women, due to the
That's
nature of
probably why
the
it's been
app
taken
where
down.
people can talk to each other without any filters or approval systems like friend requests. Before we go into any further details, it'd be a good idea to look at a timeline of events during that day. Fortunately, the Missing Children Society of Canada and CBC News have provided a thorough overview of Bali's day before her disappearance. According to CBC News, Bali's movements were described as erratic. She walked to various stores around town, appeared to be looking for someone, and tried to get money, all while claiming that it was for a vacation to Regina. So, let's go over what happened. Here's a bullet list of the timeline of Bali's movements from that day.
She arrived at
This
school.
information was
She arrived at school at 8:20. Leaves, scared, heart. High school. What? She was only there for 5 minutes.
taken directly from the Missing Children Society of Canada website.
There's a series of
At
events.
6:41 a.m., Bali texted her friend Oxana again, asking if she could take Bali to the bank. Apparently, she had been claiming that she had $5,000. Police said bank statements showed that Bali had nowhere near that amount. Oxana responded that the bank wouldn't be open until 8 in the morning, and didn't take
Back in 2022, I lost two
Ads,
very
ads,
important
ads,
people in my
ads,
life.
ads,
Big
ads
figures.
galore.
It really wasn't until
her. Mekayla's grandmother said she dropped Mekayla off at school at around 8:20 a.m.
She was only for 5 minutes.
Police verified Wi-Fi records that showed Bali's phone connected to the school network at around 8:08 a.m. By 8:26, she had left the school through a back entrance.
How did not like, cause of my old school, when you open the door, they always like has like the beeping, or the security people always get like an alert that one of the doors has been opened.
Shortly
I don't know
thereafter,
why this school doesn't.
Mekayla's movements were captured by a surveillance camera at the Super C convenience store, where she was seen walking along the railroad tracks. Around 8:51 a.m., Mekayla arrived at the local TD Bank. Camera footage shows her talking on the phone as she waits for the doors to open. At 8:55 a.m., when a worker opens the shutters, she ends the call and approaches the teller to withdraw $55. It's important to note, with TELUS data from cell phone towers,
What do you do? With
police are
55?
able to see the sending and receiving party of calls and messages, but the phone company does not retain the actual message. What's weird is that the phone call Mekayla made in front of the bank didn't register at all. In fact, none of the calls she made that day were registered. Police had to wait 10 months to access her social media accounts through the proper legal channels, but we're not sure if they ever got a hold of her messages on the Kik app. After the bank, Mekayla headed east towards Terry's Pawn and Bargain, arriving at 9 a.m. Police spoke to the owner, Terry Hedden, who claimed she tried to pawn a silver ring.
So far, it sounds like she's trying to run away from home. It's just trying to leave that town. Like she's tired of the town she lives in, and she's trying to run away. Maybe the person she contacted with like promised her things that they did not mean, like promised her a new life or anything or something. But
Apparently, the value of the ring was too low. Hedden said that she didn't seem bothered, and that she simply left the store and headed south. About 15 minutes later, Surveillance footage captured Mekayla at a combined Tim Hortons and Wendy's. It was at this location where some strange things happened. She bought a drink and sat in a booth with her backpack next to her. During the investigation, one of Mekayla's friends had told police that Mekayla usually carried a purse to school, not a backpack. This is a clear indication that she left her home that day with the intent to leave Yorkton.
Yeah.
In the footage, Mekayla can be seen turning every now and then, looking at the entrance. At 9:23 a.m., Mekayla leaves the restaurant through one of its two exits. Then returns to leave through the other exit.
What?
She enters the Tim Hortons / Wendy's at 9:49 a.m. while talking on her cell phone. Another call that police weren't able to trace in their investigation.
Wait, how are they not able to trace these calls? Like what was she using? Like, makes no sense.
This time around, she sat at a booth facing the door. After ending her call, she waited, sent messages, browsed her phone, and intermittently checked through the window. At 10:12 a.m., she texted her friend Shelby, "Hey, I need help." Over the next 30 minutes, Mekayla is on and off her phone, during which time she texted Shelby again saying, "Never mind, I figured it out." In the same time frame, she left the restaurant again, only to immediately return and sit in the same booth.
Why does she keep coming back and forth? Like, that's suspicious. She keeps leaving, coming back, leaving, coming back, leaving, go. Like, where is she trying to go when she leaves? Like, oh no, she's probably making calls. She's probably making calls to run away, and she doesn't want anyone to hear. That's probably why. Maybe. That's
At
crazy.
10:39
She
a.m.,
just disappeared.
footage
Like
shows her looking around during a call. 4 minutes later, she gets off the phone and approaches an older lady sitting at a nearby table. The police later discovered that Mekayla had asked the lady for help with renting a hotel room. In fact, one of the key pieces to solving this mystery is understanding why Mekayla was asking the lady for help. Unfortunately, the lady claimed she didn't know the reason. Whether Mekayla needed the money for the room or just an adult to make the transaction, the lady refused. She didn't know where Mekayla wanted to rent the room either. After asking the lady for help, Mekayla returns to her booth, makes another call, and leaves the restaurant while talking on the phone.
what is her end game in the end of this? Like, what is her end game? Like, I know she's trying to run away, but she doesn't really have the fundings to do that. Like, if you're gonna run away, at least have okay, don't run away, but at least have money. But I don't recommend doing that. Do not do that. Don't run away. Don't run away from your problems. It only makes it worse.
There is a gap of time where Mekayla's whereabouts are unknown. About an hour later, Mekayla sent Shelby a text. "I'll see you at lunch." At 11:59 a.m., Mekayla had returned to Sacred Heart High School, where she met with two students, Ali Clarkson and Joannick Buckle. She told them that she was going to take a bus for a vacation to—
Bro, does school not have any securities? Like, they just don't just let you leave and come back. Like, they have no security. Like, honestly, the school needs to like pack it, like have more security than this. To be honest with you, to be able to hold this.
Regina. Police investigation reveals that she may have been carrying two phones at the time. Less than 5 minutes after meeting the two students, Mekayla leaves the school.
Legit, you could just
Mekayla
walk
went
out
to
of
a
school. That is crazy. I would, you would not be able to do this in my school. Like my old school, you would not be able to do this. Like legit, the entrance here, like my school was like this. Like the entrance is like that, but on the side there's like a window. And that window's there's usually a lady there, who usually like does the talking, who like checks people in and out, like opens the door, clock. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. and if you're trying to leave, you have to like go through her. But if you left to the backside of the school, the security will get like a notification, so like it'll be literally impossible to skip out.
Bus depot after leaving Sacred Heart High School, where an
I mean,
employee
it's not impossible. It'll be possible, but you'll definitely get caught.
remembered seeing her around noon.
But it's crazy to me
The
that you
employee
just walk
said
out. She
Mekayla
could just
wanted to
walk
know
out
what
and
time
walk
the
back
bus
in.
was leaving. She was told 5 p.m. and then decided to not buy a ticket. She was then spotted at
If you want to learn how to edit really well from professional Hollywood editors, we're going to show you the stuff that nobody else is teaching.
I'm already a
a
pro at
nearby
editing.
restaurant called Trail Shop, where she purchased a meal. Unfortunately, there are not many cameras in this area, and her movements beyond this point are unknown. Nearly 4 hours later, at 3:40 p.m., Mekayla's grandmother was waiting to pick her up from school. 20 minutes later, Mekayla misses her violin rehearsal. Roughly another 4 hours later, Mekayla is officially reported missing. By 7 a.m., her cell phone was off.
Just like that.
Police have received many tips across the years. One of the tips was the Friday right after her disappearance at the local bus station. Many were hopeful that it would be Mekayla, but it turned out to be somebody else. A few weeks later, Mekayla's records were transferred to the General Investigation Section, or the GIS. This means that the investigation would be treated as a major offense. The officers of the GIS spent weeks watching camera footage, analyzing phone records, and going through the legal processes required to retrieve Mekayla's social media data. To this day, there has been no activity on her social media, except for one occasion. A few months after her disappearance, a message she had been sent on Snapchat became opened, as if she had seen the message. On Reddit, a user claims that Snapchat causes messages to be
Do not trust anyone on Reddit. Legit. Everyone is a professional at something in Reddit. Like a professional.
opened if the person's account becomes deactivated. After 30 days, they become liable to be deleted. Once they are, they appear, as in the marker on the conversation shows, to have been opened, even if the recipient never in fact opens it. But just because 30 days have passed, doesn't mean the Snapchats will be deleted. It's kind of random.
Yeah, like when I used to think that me and Neymar Jr. were buds because I texted him and he opened my message and I was like, yo, he actually opened it. That's crazy. He didn't open it.
However, this doesn't seem plausible, since
Shout out to
many
Neymar.
of her social media accounts still existed at the time, like Instagram, and apparently Snapchat doesn't delete inactive accounts. Her Instagram account included selfies and pictures of her school friends and siblings. However, according to CBC News, there was another Instagram account under her name, with hundreds of followers but no photos. And the About Me section simply said, "Goodbye." If these accounts still exist, I couldn't find them.
They probably don't.
Less than 2 months before her disappearance, Mekayla made a post on social media with a screenshot of her Snapchat profile saying, "Looking for Snapchat friends because I have none in real life. Add me. Please."
Please don't. Nah, this sounds like she was really going through something. And she felt like she was alone and she just like wanted to disappear. Ah, damn. Uh, now, this is like very serious. A lot of people be feeling like this type of way, but like you can't just run away from your problems, man. Like now I'm thinking that she probably, I don't want to say it, but you know what I mean.
don't be a greasy fuck and send me gross ass nudes. Just looking for friend.
I mean, she's
Could it be possible that somebody contacted her that day and made plans to meet her the following month, in April? GIS officers investigated everyone in Mekayla's social circle, including everyone she was known to be contacting on social media. Note that not all of her social media activity was recoverable, because some websites don't hold user data for long periods of time, and the legal processes to acquire the records can take months. One of the people that GIS did investigate was Christopher, who we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, who is this Christopher?
Liang, Mekayla's friend, had mentioned that Christopher was going to visit Saskatchewan, but Liang wasn't the only person to mention him. Mekayla's ex-boyfriend also told police that Christopher was visiting the province to see his
Oh my god, another fucking
Online on Mac immerses you in a universe with
mother in Saskatoon. Police searched
nice
Christopher's
guy game
house.
like that.
In their investigation, they found no evidence that Christopher was in Canada during the time Mekayla went missing. CBC News also reached out, to which he had this to say: "All I can provide for you is that she suffered with self-harm a few years back. Back then, I was helping those who struggled, and I encouraged her to fight against self-harm and to look towards God." Police said there was no evidence to suggest that Mekayla was suicidal at the time she went missing. However, the self-harm story was indeed corroborated by Mekayla Bali's description in the Interpol database, as found by one Reddit user. It says that Mekayla has a fair amount of scars on her upper thigh from self-harm, side unknown. Mekayla's friends pointed out to police another boy she had been contacting via social media, who goes by the name of Josh. However, they didn't know his last name. Police followed up, interviewing multiple people with the name Josh throughout their investigation, until they found a boy in Churchbridge who said that he knew her. The boy said they saw each other about once a week at a youth gathering. However, they hadn't spoken for a few years, and police said there was no indication that this Josh was involved in Mekayla's disappearance. There was yet another man investigated by the police, a man who claimed to be Mekayla's father. Mekayla had told her friends that she didn't know who her
Oh yeah, her mom was like a single parent. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, earlier he said that she was raised by a single parent. So the father wasn't present then?
father was, but that she wanted to meet him. The man who was interviewed by police, Rick Breet, said he was never contacted by Mekayla, and he didn't think she knew his name. Mekayla's mother, Paula, claims there is no evidence that Rick is Mekayla's father. Despite the uncertainty, police searched Breet's house and even took DNA samples. They concluded that there was no evidence to suggest that Breet had anything to do with Mekayla's disappearance. Breet even started posting online about Mekayla's disappearance on his own behalf. At the bus depot, police interviewed an employee named Cheryl McDougall, who said Bali looked pretty normal for the kids who went there. About a week after the interview, McDougall contacted police with more information from a customer who remembered seeing Bali. Apparently, she was seen with a big guy carrying white bags. After putting out a sketch of a man described as having a tattoo.
Wait, so she was just seen with a random like big dude who carried, and he had a tat. He had like a big cross tat right there. And they whenever it was like, this is like very distinct.
Tattoo of a cross with red flames on his left arm. Someone came forward. However, the investigation concluded that he was simply holding the door for Bali, and that they were not together. After looking at all of the information regarding Mekayla's case, police do not believe that she ever purchased a ticket or got into a bus leaving Yorkton. It's been several years now. Mekayla's family runs pages all over social media with the hopes of finding her. Police have investigated.
Damn, this is still going on too. Like, still looking for her. There's a 5,000 reward for her. For safe return. 10,000 word for information. So 10,000 for information and 5,000 for her to safely return. I mean, I feel like if she could return, she would already. I don't think she wants to, or I don't even think she's alive. Like, my theory is that one, she either got like kidnapped and killed, or she offed herself. And three, or she just ran away, like legit disappeared off the face of the world. Like, maybe she's still alive, living in New Mexico, like in Mexico, like who knows?
Over 600 tips throughout the years. including sightings as far as Scotland
I like
and
Theory
Colombia.
3 better. Like she's still
Among
alive.
the other tips that
She's
the
ran away.
RCMP have received, a few stand out. In January of 2017, Mekayla was believed to have been seen at an event at the Grey Eagle Entertainment Center in Calgary. Considering the location has a casino, generally these places have excellent surveillance. However, police were unable to confirm if she was really there that day. The latest tip was in August of 2019 from a man in Edmonton who thought he met Mekayla outside the High Run Club in Capilano.
I feel like these people just looking at people who just look like her, but it isn't really her. Like legit, they're just like they're just looking at a lot of lookalikes that think they're her. From this, it might look like her, but when you get close, it's not her.
The man said that she was very sweet, kind, gentle, and naive. Sadly, the police could not confirm the validity of this tip. Looking at the locations of the sightings, if any of these are true, it would seem as if Mekayla
She
headed
traveled
west
across-
after leaving Yorkton.
She traveled.
In fact, the
far.
sightings are near locations that Mekayla had discussed visiting, like Regina and Saskatoon.
Hey,
All of these locations
Maybe she
are
is
west
alive.
of Yorkton, where she disappeared, including Calgary and Edmonton, the places that were reported to the authorities. Even with all of this information, it's still difficult coming up with a comprehensive scenario that could explain Mekayla's disappearance. One thing does seem certain. Mekayla wanted to leave that day. She had her backpack set up, she withdrew what money she had, and she hit the road. Whether or not she actually left or remains in Yorkton is uncertain. Whether or not she met with someone remains uncertain. It is precisely what happened to Mekayla Bali after she left the bus depot that remains a mystery.
Hey, um, maybe she is still alive and just successfully ran away. Maybe living a new life. Hopefully, she's still alive. She's okay. I hope they find her eventually. Maybe she can explain what happened. Yeah, but yeah, that was a good video. Yeah, I hope y'all enjoy.